Saturday, June 21st, 08:48 a.m. New York time. Welcome back, investors, to Winning Wall Street's Money. This video is going to go over the NASDAQ-100 stock index, comparing the Magnificent 7 stocks to see if any of them are making new highs for the year, or if any of them are making new lows for the year. Try to identify leadership. That being said, these companies I'm about to show you are part of the NASDAQ-100. Again, there's the NASDAQ index and there's the NASDAQ-100. The NASDAQ-100 stock index being the higher value companies of the NASDAQ composite. NASDAQ composite is a huge index. Just like the stock market, not all the stocks are listed in each index. That being said, kind of look at this, what came first, the chicken or egg? Does the NASDAQ stock index the leadership, or is it the individual stocks that are the leadership? We'll break that down in a minute to see that. The point is, NASDAQ 100 stock index is specifically a technology index. It's not diversified with all these other sectors as the S&P 500. The S&P 500 stock index is diversified with 11 sectors, one of those sectors being technology. So the NASDAQ 100 stock index is part of the S&P 500. If the technology sector is struggling, you shouldn't be surprised. The NASDAQ 100. Some of the companies in the NASDAQ 100 are also in the Dow Jones, which is a smaller index. It's only the Dow 30. So we're looking here at the NASDAQ 100. The stock ETF you could trade, symbols QQQ. I am showing you the cash index, the NASDAQ 100, NDX, the cash index. That's the one that's on the big board. When you hear that quoted from the media, they're referring to the NASDAQ 100 or the NASDAQ composite, but this is the NASDAQ 100. We're also halfway through the year. We're already halfway through the month, June. Yeah. After that, 2 more quarters. Those quarters, the companies report their earnings. Well, what's happening now today and what's been happening the last few weeks will show up down the road in the data provided to the public in the company earnings. But when you look at the charts now, you can see them real time. What's happening? There's a delay in the fundamentals that are being released to the public. That's just common sense. But you can look at the individual companies to understand what's happening sometimes before the NASDAQ 100 because the weighted average of the companies. So that's why I'm selecting the NASDAQ 100, Magnificent 7 stocks. On here to the right, the monthly chart. Look how small this candle is. The trading range, the high and the low, very tiny compared to these prior 2 months on the upside and the prior month's downside. There's also a big wick on the top. Well, the high of the year to the left, the top horizontal line, you can see there are huge wicks there. There are buyers up there, but weakness. We didn't close up there. More rejection, not having people want to pay more money to continue up. Yeah, so that's concerning up here. Small little trading range, less confidence of new buyers coming here, meaning less momentum to the upside. Go to the middle grid, the weekly. The past 2 weeks, red candles, closing red for the week. Lower highs, lower lows. The trend will be reversed. Lower highs, lower lows. So look how small the trading range was up there. Also, those 2 weeks were controlled by the sellers, the bears. We might have a fast breakdown. Look, these candles, panic selling, and go back to the monthly candle here, panic selling. Well, because maybe the smart money that's working smarter researching, identifying leadership, identify less leadership here, and taking the money out and rolling other places. We have a gap here that's not been filled yet. You don't have to always be invested in the NASDAQ 100. You don't have to be invested always in the Magnificent Seven. I showed many times there's other financial instruments besides stocks. There's other sectors, the stock market. Yeah. And look at the far left, the daily chart. The top, consolidation, really tight, really small, building a lot of energy. And down here, consolidation. A lot of red up here. Looks like distribution, smart money selling. We have a gap down here and a gap all the way down here. And we could still grind up more. We could go up more and more and more in smaller trading ranges until hot potato. No one's buying the hot potato. That's the phrase. And then have a huge sink. Summer months. Yeah. Summer months typically have less activity on the bull side in the stock market. Yeah. So why would you want to be buying up here? Nothing wrong with taking profits and rotating into better sectors or better other financial instruments. If you're bullish, then sit on hands and buy in the dip. Identify where the dip is and where you think it's worthy of the value to invest. That being said, let's go down to the Magnificent Seven stocks now. Same thing, we use the multiple time frames. Monthly, weekly, daily. So that was the NASDAQ 100. Gonna go after the quarter. Apple. Wow, look at this on the far right. 2 months in a row, inside candles on the Apple, trending down. The middle grid, Apple, huge consolidation here, really looking bad. Yeah, it's building a wedge. A coil inside the wedge, again, way below, underperforming. And the daily chart here on the far right, very depressing here. That's just one of the companies in the NASDAQ and the Magnificent Seven. Again, it's underperforming. It could get worse. Amazon. So the monthlies, look at that, higher high, higher low, big wicks on the top. This orange vertical line, that's when it got outed to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, yep, which helped the Dow Index. It replaced another company. And here in the middle, same thing. The last 2 weeks, lower highs, lower lows, has a gap here that's not been filled yet. And the daily chart, big breakdown. This past week, big breakdown, lots of gaps. Gap here, gap here. So again, maybe the people that are the fundamental analysts, the ones that make recommendations, are themselves first liquidating their positions, closing their positions, rotating to other financial instruments, and we'll disclose that. That will be public disclosed when they do their quarterly reports. With this SEC, that's public information. You can see how many shares they purchase, sold of the assets they own. That was Amazon. Let's go on to the next. Alphabet, stock symbol, Google, but the company Alphabet. Look at the monthly candle here, huge wick on the top. Yeah, much rejection. Not surprised, went into that big impulse move down. And look at the past week here, already broke down huge. Big panic selling here off that bearish pin bar, no surprise. As more of these companies start trending down, it will have more of an impact on the NASDAQ 100. Well, if you know how to trade bearish, trade short, you could do that with the individual companies as well as the stock index. There's stock ETFs to trade bearish on the NASDAQ. And look at Friday's daily candle on Google, huge panic selling, breakdown. Now to Meta. If you don't know Meta, the owner of Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, many companies. For the week, for the month here, trending up, green, higher high, higher low, big rejection. Same thing, weekly charts in the middle. Look at those two red candles, lower lows, lower highs. After that big impulse move up, a pump, maybe a dump. Getting gaps here. Now the daily chart. Look at Friday, huge panic selling. If I break this down to the half an hour, let's do that. Go to the 30 minutes. There we are in the 30 minutes. See, opening the market opened here, huge dump. And look at that huge volume down here. Let me put that on a 15-minute. Big amount of volume came in there after the regular trading hours close. So that's the end of 4 p.m. That's the extended hours. Huge. Put that on a 5-minute. Yep. Big spike of volume, above average volume right there. On to the next financial instrument. Microsoft. This month, Microsoft, new high for the year and broke the high of 2024. Are you aware of that? The market may be bearish, but you have Microsoft making an all-time new high. Impressive. So we're here. Let's open this up. Put this for the max. From 5 years to max. There we go. For some of the drawings. Microsoft made an all-time new high. I am not aware the news medias, specifically the business ones, sharing that. Not in real time. Maybe they'll do it days, weeks, months later. Microsoft all-time new high. Maybe they have another government contract they got. They are spending a lot of money on AI. Impressive. So again, that's helping the stock index. It's also on the Dow. There we go on the weekly, right in the middle chart, forming a bearish pin bar. Small trading ranges. Wow. Yeah, less energy going up here. Very concerning. Huge gap here. And Friday, look at that red candle. Pump and a huge sell-off, very bearish candle. Look at that huge volume. That's concerning. You have high volume off the top. More likely, more selling than buying. Got it? If you have high volume at a bottom, there's a lot of accumulation, buying and selling. But again, buying and selling on the bottom. Understand this again, a huge volume on the bottom. Sure, we had this sell-off, and then we had a huge volume at the bottom. Buyers and prices went up. That's bullish. Huge volume here on the top, and it's not closing high. More sellers and buyers. Do you really want to see huge volumes at the high, but not closing at the high? Do you sense something there? Yeah. So again, we might see fast sell-offs days ahead. Or you, if you have an account with a broker, if you have an account with a futures broker, you could participate in early bearish positions Sunday night when the futures open. You can do options or the futures on the NASDAQ-100 contracts. Instead of waiting till Monday, just think Monday, we might have a gap down. Or they might do this. They might gap it up in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, and then later in the day, dump. Huge seller, getting all those people buying at the gap on the upside, trapped. On to the next financial instrument. The video. There we go for the month. Again, small candles for the current month. Again, the month's not over yet, but already halfway through the month. And this orange vertical line is where it got added to the Dow Jones. Weekly chart. Wow, very concerning. Almost a dodgy candle up here. Bearish pin bars. Very suspicious. Looks more like distribution, smart money selling. Making higher highs. Smaller trading range. Yeah. Price is declining. Look in the bottom of the grid, the volume. price is declining and the stock's going higher high, higher low. That's a divergency. It's not sustainable. Right now, I'm sharing you opportunities to trade bearish if you are anticipating prices to go lower. We have a divergency, keyword divergency. One of these is going to give. The daily chart. Yep. Higher, new high, right there. And close low. Huge volume. Concerning, again, huge volume Friday. And they're closing red. If you know how to look at options, you can look at the option chain, see where the activity was for what contract, what strike. On to the next financial instrument. Tesla. Inside candle for the month. Wow. Huge trading range, and it's undecided. It couldn't figure out to go above or below. All right, that's spotty signals. Weekly chart. 2 inside weeks. Wow, not good. Look how small that trading range was for that small candle. It's solid body, went up to a red. Yep. Way below the highs of 2024. It's way underperforming the stock index. And daily chart. Big consolidation here. Not looking good. I'm going to also include, which is not part of the NASDAQ. Which is not part of the Magnificent Seven. But have you ever heard the FANG index? Which Magnificent Seven place? I want to look at Netflix to show you what's going on. Netflix made an all-time new high for the year. That's impressive. Netflix. How much technology is involved in Netflix? It's streaming. Really? It's not manufacturing a thing. Let's look at the max. The max. So Netflix, all-time high. All-time high. It's outperforming the NASDAQ. Can you believe that? Here's the NASDAQ 100. It's not at an all-time high. Nope. The NASDAQ 100. Impressive. Netflix. Netflix. Wow. Is that information been shared with you by anybody else? So you have, in hindsight, I'll say this, dumb money going into Netflix, buying that stock, thinking that's going to bring the economy back up. Well, apparently more subscribers, or they're changing their fees to higher, or bonuses. Yeah. Or maybe they're throttling down and saving money on the internet speed. Impressive. All-time new high for the month. Netflix, really? Here we are on the weekly chart. Big consolidation, holding up there strong, but smaller trading range. Yep. Sellers rejecting up there. And daily chart. Wow, that's pretty clear. That's not looking good. Again, huge volume. Looks like a lot of selling. We have huge amount of economic news. I just posted on Patreon of all the economic news scheduled this coming week. A lot of every day. I think we got economic news schedule coming into this new week. Thank you as always, spending just a little time with me. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching.